Elliot Hale was no stranger to danger. As a deep space cargo pilot, he was used to navigating through asteroid fields, dodging space pirates, and even braving the volatile atmospheres of distant planets. His work was often grueling, yet it provided him with the thrill he craved, and the quiet satisfaction of traversing unexplored regions of the galaxy. But none of his past missions had prepared him for an encounter with Baron Narlith, one of the most enigmatic and influential figures in the Gorgith Quadrant. It all began with an urgent job. Elliot's employer, a mid-level trading consortium, had received a request to retrieve a mineral called Vaulterite from the caverns of Eurethus 7. The mineral was volatile, sensitive to high temperatures, and exceedingly rare, a challenging haul, even for a seasoned pilot like Elliot. Still, the payout was substantial, and the promise of exploring an uncharted, dangerous environment was irresistible. After a harrowing descent onto Eurethus 7, Elliot spent days mining the mineral, carefully packing it into heat-insulated containers. The air was thick with strange gases, and his equipment struggled to keep up with the extreme conditions. He narrowly avoided a cave-in, fought off a swarm of territorial crystalline creatures, and endured endless hours of claustrophobic silence. But in the end, he had done it. The mission was complete, and the Vaulterite was safely stored aboard his ship, the Eclipse. Returning to his station in the Gorgith Quadrant, Elliot expected nothing more than his paycheck and a strong drink to wash away the tension. Instead, he was met with a transmission from an unknown source. The voice on the other end was calm, polite, and almost otherworldly. "Pilot Elliot Hale," the voice intoned. "You have been requested to present yourself to Baron Narlith of the Eleuthian Dominion." Elliot's stomach dropped. Narlith was a legendary being whose influence stretched across the galaxy. The Eleuthians were known for their advanced technology, nearly magical in nature, and their intense secrecy. Few had ever been invited to the Baron's palace. Most who interacted with the Eleuthians only saw automated emissaries or received curt messages from unseen representatives. To be summoned by Narlith himself was practically unheard of. "Why?" Elliot asked, masking his anxiety with a tone of casual indifference. The voice hesitated for a moment, as if surprised by his question. "Baron Narlith wishes to extend his personal gratitude for your successful retrieval of Vaulterite. Your presence is requested as a guest of honor." There was no choice, really. Declining an invitation from the Eleuthians could end one's career or worse. So, with a sense of curiosity and a bit of trepidation, Elliot set course for the Eleuthian capital world, Larithia, where Narlith's palace awaited. The palace was unlike anything he had ever seen. It was an immense, spiraling structure, built from a material that looked almost alive. The walls pulsed with soft, organic light, and the air hummed with energy. The exterior glistened like a fluid metal, shifting hues with the light, while the interior was filled with strange fluorobioluminescent plants that cast a serene glow over everything they touched. As Elliot approached the grand hall, he was greeted by Eleuthian attendants, their expressions neutral yet watchful. Their skin was a translucent blue, and their eyes held swirling patterns, like miniature galaxies. They moved with a quiet grace, guiding him deeper into the palace until they reached the audience chamber. The chamber itself was a marvel, its high ceilings and archways filled with glittering, suspended particles that formed shifting constellations. In the center of the room stood Baron Narlith, a figure even more imposing in person. His tall, slender form was clothed in a flowing robe that seemed to shimmer like liquid stardust. His face was almost human, but his skin was an ethereal shade of blue, and his eyes sparkled with a depth that was both mesmerizing and unsettling. Elliot felt a strange, magnetic pull as he approached the Baron, who regarded him with a calm, piercing gaze. "Pilot Elliot Hale," Narlith began, his voice smooth and resonant, filling the hall like a warm current. "You have done a great service for my people. The Vaulterite you retrieved is not just a mineral to us, it is the essence of our energy, our technology, and, in many ways, our very survival." Elliot, caught off guard by the Baron's candidness, managed a slight nod. It was. Just a job, he replied, trying to sound humble but also secretly thrilled at the acknowledgement. Perhaps to you, Narleth continued, a faint smile gracing his lips. But to us, it is life itself. He lifted a slender, graceful hand, and an attendant stepped forward, holding a rectangular box. The box was unlike any Elliot had ever seen. Made from a chrome-like material, it was smooth and reflective, with no visible seams or hinges, yet it emanated a soft, inviting glow. The Baron took the box from the attendant and held it out to Elliot. As a token of our gratitude, I present to you this gift, he said, his eyes gleaming with a strange intensity. Inside this box is one of our rarest treasures. Elliot accepted the box, its weight surprising in his hands. The surface was cool and flawless, and he could feel a faint hum emanating from within. He couldn't help but wonder what kind of treasure lay inside. An artifact? A tool? Some strange alien technology? What exactly is it? He asked, curiosity getting the better of him. Narleth's smile widened, enigmatic and unreadable. A companion, he said simply. A guide, if you will, to help you understand our culture and perhaps assist you in your travels. She will be your protector as much as you are hers. In Eluthian tradition, such a gift is rare, only offered to those we hold in the highest regard. Elliot blinked, taken aback. He'd heard of companions in Eluthian culture, legendary, loyal beings gifted to the most esteemed allies of the Eluthians. But he had never expected such an honor. Thank you, Elliot managed, still struggling to process the implications. I'm honored. Narleth inclined his head. Take care of her, Pilot Hale. She is more valuable than you know. With a slight wave of his hand, Narleth signaled the end of their audience, leaving Elliot with more questions than answers. Back on his ship, the Eclipse, Elliot stared at the mysterious box, a mixture of anticipation and wariness swirling within him. The hum of the box grew faintly louder, as if beckoning him to open it. Taking a deep breath, he pressed his hand against the smooth surface. Instantly, the box responded, a line of light tracing along the edge before the lid opened with a soft hiss. Inside lay a young woman, encased in a shimmering stasis field, her features delicate and ethereal. Her eyes fluttered open, revealing a deep, lavender gaze that held 1,000 secrets. She looked at him with a serene smile, and in a voice as soft as stardust, she spoke. Hello, Elliot. My name is Lyra. In that instant, Elliot understood two things. First, that the Eluthian gift was far more than he could have ever anticipated. And second, that his life was about to change in ways he could never have imagined. Elliot sat in stunned silence, staring at the young woman before him. Her lavender skin shimmered under the dim light of his ship's quarters, giving her an almost spectral beauty. Her eyes deep, rich violet with flecks of silver met his gaze with a calm, almost knowing expression. She was unlike any being he had ever encountered, her presence filling the small room with an ethereal glow. Hello, Elliot, she repeated, her voice soft but unmistakably clear. My name is Lyra. Elliot finally found his voice. You're the gift? Lyra nodded, her gaze unwavering. In Eluthian culture, gifting a companion is an honor reserved only for those who have proven their loyalty and valor. I am here as a token of Baron Narleth's gratitude. I am to be your guide and, if necessary, your protector. Elliot's mind whirled. He had expected a rare artifact or some technological marvel, not a person. And yet, the more he looked at Lyra, the more he realized how extraordinary she truly was. Her features were delicate yet striking, and her presence seemed to radiate a quiet strength. But why me? He asked, half to himself. I'm just a cargo pilot. I didn't save the galaxy, I just delivered some mineral. Lyra tilted her head, studying him with those perceptive, violet eyes. The Eluthians value acts of courage and integrity. You ventured to Eurethus 7, a hostile and dangerous world, to retrieve something vital for our people. To you, It may seem like a simple task, but to us, it signifies your bravery and your willingness to face the unknown. Elliot scratched the back of his head, still feeling the weight of the unexpected honor. So, what exactly does a companion do? Lyra smiled, a soft, almost shy expression. I am here to assist you in any way I can. I can act as a navigator, a translator, even as a guide to understanding alien customs and cultures. Her smile faded slightly, and her gaze grew more serious. But there is more. I am attuned to certain energies within the galaxy. I can sense things that others cannot: disturbances, anomalies, even the presence of other life forms. In times of danger, I can help keep you safe. Elliot absorbed this, a sense of awe and curiosity bubbling up within him. So, you're not just some ordinary Eleuthian. Lyra hesitated, her expression shifting to one of guarded vulnerability. No. I am unique, even among my people. The Baron chose me because of my abilities. In many ways, I am a key to certain knowledge that my people have hidden away. Elliot's brow furrowed. A key? To what? Lyra's gaze dropped to the floor, her voice softening. There are artifacts scattered throughout the galaxy, relics of an ancient time, filled with power that most civilizations would not understand. My people have hidden them, safeguarded them, so they do not fall into the wrong hands. I am one of the few who can access these artifacts, who can activate them. The weight of her words sank into Elliot, and he realized that Lyra's role in his life was far more complex and far more dangerous than he had initially thought. She wasn't merely a gift. She was a living vessel of knowledge and power, entrusted to him by one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. As the days passed, Lyra integrated into life aboard the Eclipse. Her presence was a quiet but constant comfort, and she quickly became invaluable to Elliot's operations. Her knowledge of navigation, especially in regions of space where typical human instruments faltered, allowed them to traverse dangerous territory with ease. She seemed to have an uncanny ability to detect anomalies in space, subtle shifts in energy fields, gravitational fluctuations, even signs of ships hidden within nebulae. One day, as they passed through a dense region of cosmic dust, Lyra sensed something unusual. She closed her eyes, placing her hand on the wall of the ship, as if communing with the cosmos itself. "There's a ship nearby," she murmured, her voice distant. "Hidden in the dust cloud, waiting." Elliot's pulse quickened. His radar displayed nothing but static from the interference of the dust cloud, yet Lyra seemed certain. "What kind of ship?" he asked, preparing the defensive shields. She opened her eyes, her gaze sharp. "Pirates. They're watching us, waiting for an opportunity." Elliot didn't need any more prompting. He changed their course, weaving through the cloud at an angle that would throw off any pursuers. Just as he completed the maneuver, the radar crackled to life, displaying a blip: a ship emerging from the dust in the area they had just left. He turned to Lyra, impressed. "You saved us from an ambush. How did you know?" Lyra shrugged, a faint smile playing on her lips. "I told you. I am attuned to certain energies. I can sense presences, emotions, intentions. It's difficult to explain, but I've been trained to use this gift to protect myself and those I care about." Her words struck a chord within him. He realized that she had not only saved his life, but was willing to put herself in harm's way to keep him safe. Lyra's loyalty and strength of character stirred something within him, a bond of trust and perhaps even admiration. But as much as they had grown closer, Elliot couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to Lyra's presence than she was letting on. Late at night, when the ship's hum was the only sound, he would find himself wondering, why had Narlith really sent her to him? There was something she wasn't telling him, something hidden beneath her calm and gentle exterior. One evening, while they were traveling through a quiet sector of space, Elliot decided to confront her. He found her in the cockpit, gazing out at the stars, her face illuminated by the gentle glow of the control panels. Lyra, he began, his tone serious, there's something I don't understand. Why would Baron Narlith trust me with someone like you? You're more than a guide, more than a companion. There's something you're not telling me. Lyra looked at him, her expression unreadable. For a moment, he thought she might brush off his question, as she had done before. But then she sighed, a hint of sadness in her eyes. You're right, she said quietly. There is something I haven't told you. Something important. She turned her gaze back to the stars, her voice barely a whisper. I am not simply a guide. I am a living code, a key that can unlock the technology and secrets of the Eleuthians, knowledge that has been kept hidden for centuries. My people created me, crafted me, to safeguard this knowledge. But now, in a time of growing danger, Baron Narlith decided to entrust me to you. Elliot's mind reeled as he tried to process the implications of her words. Why would he do that? I'm just a pilot. Why would he risk someone as important as you by giving you to me? Lyra's eyes softened as she met his gaze. Because Narlith saw something in you, Elliot. Something that told him you could protect me, keep me safe from those who would seek to control or exploit the knowledge I carry. He believes that you have the courage and integrity to guard me, to make the right choices if when the time comes. Elliot felt the weight of her words settle over him like a shroud. He had thought his life was simple, his mission clear. But now he realized that, with Lyra by his side, his journey had become far more complex and dangerous. They were no longer just traveling through space, they were moving through a web of secrets, hunted by forces that would stop at nothing to capture Lyra and unlock the power she held. As the silence stretched between them, Lyra reached out, placing a gentle hand on his shoulder. I am here, Elliot, she said softly. Together, we will face whatever lies ahead. Elliot nodded, feeling a newfound sense of responsibility settle within him. He didn't fully understand what lay ahead. The weeks that followed were a blend of tension and revelation for Elliot. Every day, Lyra unveiled a new facet of herself, sharing knowledge of the Eleuthian culture, of ancient legends, and of the strange abilities that made her so unique. She was soft-spoken but undeniably wise, often guiding him through the unfamiliar customs of the distant planets they passed, translating alien languages and deciphering ancient scripts with ease. Yet, even as they grew closer, Elliot sensed an unspoken weight in her, a mystery she kept buried beneath her serene exterior. One evening, after a particularly long haul through uncharted space, Elliot found Lyra in the ship's observatory, gazing out at the vast, star-dappled expanse. The ship was quiet, and Lyra's figure was outlined in the soft glow of starlight. She looked pensive, almost burdened, her hands resting lightly on the glass as though she could reach out and touch the distant stars. You look troubled, Elliot said, stepping into the observatory. He had grown accustomed to reading her subtle expressions, and tonight she seemed more distant than usual. Lyra didn't turn to him but continued gazing out into the void. It's easy to feel small out here, she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. To feel like a single point of light in an endless night. Elliot approached, standing beside her. You're more than that, he said, his tone gentle but firm. You're extraordinary, Lyra. And I don't just mean the things you can do. I mean, you. Lyra smiled faintly, but the sadness lingered in her eyes. Elliot, there's something you need to understand about me, about why Narlith entrusted me to you. She turned to face him, her expression solemn. I am more than just a companion. I am a vessel of knowledge, yes, but I am also a key. Elliot's heart skipped a beat. A key? You mentioned that before. But I don't understand. What exactly do you unlock? Lyra took a deep breath, as if steeling herself. The Eleuthians have secrets, Elliot. Ancient secrets, technologies, and artifacts from a time long before most civilizations even existed. They're hidden across the galaxy, sealed away to prevent misuse. And I am one of the few beings capable of activating those relics, of unlocking the power they hold. Elliot's mind raced as he tried to grasp the enormity of her words. So you can unlock ancient Eleuthian technology? Power that could. What? Change worlds? Shift entire star systems? More than that, she replied, her voice grave. Some of these relics hold knowledge that could alter the very fabric of reality. They were created in an age when our people were explorers and innovators. But as we grew, we learned that such power is dangerous. So we scattered the artifacts, hiding them on distant worlds and places only a few of us know. Elliot took a step back, his thoughts swirling. And you're one of the keepers of this knowledge. That's why Narlith gave you to me. Not just as a guide, but as a guardian of this power. Lyra nodded, her gaze intense. Narlith chose you because he believes in your character. You're not driven by power or greed. You seek adventure, yes, but you respect the galaxy and those within it. And he trusted that, if the need arose, you would make the right choice in guarding or even using the knowledge I hold. The implications were staggering. Elliot had thought he was simply ferrying a gifted companion, someone to assist him and keep him company. Now, he realized that he was responsible for one of the galaxy's greatest secrets, a burden that made his head spin. And there are others who know about this, he said, a grim understanding settling over him. People who would do anything to get their hands on you. Lyra's expression grew somber. Yes. There are factions, powerful forces in this galaxy, who believe that controlling Eleuthian technology would give them unimaginable power. They've heard rumors, whispers of my existence, and they will stop at nothing to find me. A cold dread crept through Elliot as he realized the magnitude of the danger they faced. What are we up against? Lyra's eyes darkened. Pirates, syndicates, mercenaries, and more. But there is one faction in particular that is our greatest threat, a group known as the Sable Legion. The name sent a shiver down Elliot's spine. He had heard rumors of the Sable Legion, a secretive organization known for their ruthless pursuit of power. Comprised of ex-military leaders, rogue scientists, and the most skilled bounty hunters in the galaxy, they were feared by even the most hardened spacefarers. The Legion sought to unify the galaxy under their rule, and if they managed to control the Eleuthian artifacts, nothing would stand in their way. I've heard of them, Elliot said quietly. They're relentless. And if they know about you, they will hunt us. Without pause, Lyra finished, her gaze steady but filled with a trace of fear. They know I am the key, and they believe that by controlling me, they can control the artifacts and, by extension, the galaxy. Elliot's fists clenched. We can't let that happen. Lyra nodded, a look of determination crossing her face. Then we must stay hidden, out of sight, until we reach safety. There is a network of allies across the galaxy who can help us. But it will be a difficult journey, filled with danger. Before he could respond, the ship's alarm blared to life. Elliot dashed to the control panel, heart pounding, and scanned the radar. A ship had appeared on their sensors, large, fast, and armed. The Sable Legion. How did they find us? Elliot muttered, fingers flying over the controls as he activated evasive maneuvers. They must have tracked my energy signature, Lyra said, her face grim. I'm sorry, Elliot. My presence here endangers you. Don't apologize, he replied firmly. You're not going anywhere. We're in this together. The enemy ship closed in, its weapons charging. Elliot's hands flew over the controls as he maneuvered the Eclipse through an asteroid field, using the jagged rocks as cover. The enemy ship fired, beams of energy narrowly missing them, grazing the asteroids and sending debris flying. Lyra's eyes glowed faintly as she focused, her hands gripping the edge of the control panel. There's a relic nearby, she said suddenly. An ancient Eleuthian vault hidden within a large asteroid in this field. I can sense it. Elliot's brow furrowed. A vault? What's in it? A defense mechanism, she replied. A gravitational device that can generate a temporary distortion field. It's dangerous, but it could disable their ship long enough for us to escape. Elliot weighed their options. The enemy ship was faster and better armed. Outrunning them was impossible. But using an ancient Eleuthian device, one that could potentially harm them as well, was a gamble. Still, it was their only chance. "Show me the way," he said, determination hardening his voice. Lyra closed her eyes, and her hand hovered over the navigation screen, guiding them toward a large asteroid that loomed ahead. They dodged enemy fire, the ship shaking with each near miss, until they reached the entrance to the asteroid's cavernous core. Elliot steered the Eclipse inside, following Lyra's instructions until they found the ancient vault, an enormous structure embedded in the rock, its surface covered in glowing Eleuthian symbols. Lyra stepped forward, placing her hand on the vault's surface. The symbols responded, glowing brighter, and the vault opened, revealing a pulsing sphere of light. She glanced back at Elliot, her face both resolute and cautious. "This device will create a gravitational pull strong enough to trap their ship," she explained. "But it will also affect us. We'll need to hold steady until the field stabilizes." Elliot braced himself, gripping the controls. "Do it." Lyra activated the device, and immediately, the ship shuddered as the gravitational field took hold. The enemy vessel, caught in the distortion, began to tilt, its trajectory warping as it was pulled toward the asteroid. The field intensified, and Elliot gritted his teeth, fighting to keep the Eclipse stable. After what felt like an eternity, the enemy ship was immobilized, trapped within the gravitational pull. With a final surge of energy, Elliot pushed the Eclipse free of the field, escaping the asteroid's pull and leaving the Sable Legion vessel stranded. As they sped away, the tension slowly eased, and Elliot allowed himself to exhale. He turned to Lyra, who looked weary but relieved. "You did it," he said, admiration clear in his voice. "You saved us." Lyra managed a small smile, though her eyes were filled with a lingering sadness. "But this is only the beginning, Elliot. They will come after us again, and next time, they'll be prepared." Elliot nodded, a fierce resolve building within him. He understood now the true depth of his responsibility, the danger that lay ahead. Protecting Lyra and the knowledge she carried had become his mission, his purpose. "We'll be ready," he replied. "No matter what they throw at us." With the galaxy stretching before them and the shadow of the Sable Legion looming, Elliot knew that their journey would be long and perilous. But as he looked at Lyra, he felt a surge of determination. Together, they would face whatever challenges awaited them, unraveling the secrets of the Eleuthian artifacts and protecting the galaxy from those who would misuse their power. Elliot knew that their encounter with the Sable Legion was only a prelude to a much larger storm. Days passed in tense silence aboard the Eclipse, with both he and Lyra constantly watching the radar, expecting the Legion to strike at any moment. Lyra had shared more about the Eleuthian artifacts scattered throughout the galaxy, and Elliot now understood the gravity of his mission, not just to protect Lyra, but to ensure that the Eleuthian technology didn't fall into the wrong hands. As they approached the fringes of Eleuthian space, Lyra's demeanor shifted. She had grown increasingly anxious, her usually calm presence tinged with a sense of urgency. One evening, as they drifted in the quiet expanse, she approached Elliot, her expression solemn. "There's something you must know, Elliot," she began, her voice tense. "We're heading toward a place where one of the most powerful Eleuthian artifacts is hidden. It's a device capable of bending gravity to such a degree that it can warp entire planets. It was deemed too dangerous, even by my people, and was hidden away on a remote world, Drazel. We are close." Elliot's heart raced. "And you think the Sable Legion knows about this?" Lyra nodded. "It's possible. They have spies across the galaxy, and they're skilled in gathering information on the Eleuthians. If they find the artifact, they will have the power to reshape planets, even destroy them. We can't let that happen." As if on cue, an alert sounded across the ship. A familiar vessel appeared on their radar, rapidly closing in. It was the Sable Legion, and judging by the readings, this ship was heavily armed. Elliot's pulse quickened as he activated the shields and plotted evasive maneuvers. "Elliot," Lyra said, her voice steely with resolve. "If they are here, then they know about Drazzle. We can't let them reach the artifact." He glanced at her, seeing the mixture of fear and determination in her eyes. "What do we do?" Lyra hesitated, her gaze flickering to the navigation console. "The artifact on Drazzle has a failsafe, a defensive system that I can activate. It will generate a gravitational field strong enough to disable any ship within range. But once it's activated, there's no controlling it. We'll be pulled in two, and our ship might not survive the force." Elliot swallowed hard, weighing their options. Escape wasn't possible, the Legion ship was faster and had them cornered. Their only chance was the artifact, but it came with a tremendous risk. "We don't have a choice," Elliot said, gripping the controls. "We'll have to use it." He turned the ship toward Drazzle, the barren planet looming ahead. Its surface was pockmarked with deep craters and fissures, remnants of an ancient geological upheaval. As they descended, Lyra guided him to a hidden entrance beneath the planet's rocky surface, a cave system leading to the artifact's vault. The cave was vast, filled with eerie, phosphorescent light that cast shadows across the rough stone walls. At the heart of the cavern, they found it, a massive, spherical device embedded in the rock, glowing faintly. Ancient Eleuthian symbols marked its surface, pulsating with an ominous energy. The device was awe-inspiring and terrifying all at once, radiating an unseen power that seemed to warp the very air around it. Lyra placed her hand on the device, her face set with a fierce determination. "Once I activate this, there's no turning back. The field will pull everything toward it. Are you sure you want to go through with this?" Elliot met her gaze, the weight of his decision pressing down on him. "I'm sure. We can't let the Legion get their hands on it." Lyra closed her eyes, murmuring an ancient Eleuthian incantation, her words soft and reverent. The device began to hum, and a shimmering field expanded outward, filling the cavern. The gravitational field intensified, creating a low, resonant thrum that vibrated through the walls and into the eclipse. Just as the field reached its full strength, the Legion ship entered Drazzle's atmosphere, drawn toward the vault by the gravitational pull. The ship tried to pull away, engines roaring as it fought against the relentless force, but it was no use. The field was too powerful, and the vessel was slowly dragged down toward the cavern. Inside the cockpit, Elliot gritted his teeth, fighting to keep the eclipse stable against the intense gravitational forces. The ship groaned, metal straining, but Lyra's calm presence beside him grounded him, even in the midst of the chaos. "We'll hold steady as long as we can," he said, his voice taut with concentration. The Legion ship crashed just outside the cavern, its hull crumpling under the force. Elliot could see through the viewport as the Legion soldiers scrambled out, attempting to reach the artifact. They were close, but the gravitational field was too strong, pinning them down, forcing them to the ground. Lyra watched them, her expression unreadable. "They're relentless. Even now, they're trying to reach it." Elliot's eyes narrowed. "They won't make it. Not this time." But just as he spoke, one of the Legion soldiers, larger and more resilient than the others, forced his way forward, fighting through the intense gravitational pull. His eyes were locked on Lyra, a predatory glint in them, and Elliot felt a surge of protectiveness rise within him. "Stay here," he told her, his voice firm. "I'll handle this." Lyra nodded, her expression filled with both worry and trust. Elliot left the cockpit, moving through the narrow corridors of the eclipse until he reached the ship's ramp. He stepped outside, feeling the crushing weight of the gravitational field pressing down on him, but he pushed forward, each step a struggle. The Legion soldier met him halfway, his face twisted in determination. "Hand over the girl," he spat, his voice strained under the pressure. "The key belongs to us." Elliot's jaw tightened. "You'll have to go through me first." They clashed, a brutal, desperate fight in the heart of the gravitational storm. Each punch, each movement was a Herculean effort, the weight pressing down on them both. The Legion soldier was strong, ruthless, but Elliot fought with a ferocity born of purpose. He would not let anyone harm Lyra. Not while he was still standing. After a fierce struggle, Elliot managed to overpower the soldier, leaving him pinned under a fallen beam of rock. Exhausted and battered, he staggered back to the Eclipse, where Lyra was waiting for him at the top of the ramp, her face a mixture of relief and concern. "Are you all right?" she asked, reaching out to steady him as he stumbled inside. He nodded, panting heavily. We did it. They won't be getting the artifact." Lyra led him back to the cockpit, where they watched as the gravitational field continued to pull the remnants of the Legion ship into the depths of the cavern. The artifact was consuming itself in the process, collapsing inward, sealing its own power forever. As the field dissipated, silence returned to the cavern, and the artifact lay dormant, its once glowing symbols now dark. Elliot felt a profound sense of relief, tempered by the knowledge of what they had narrowly escaped. Lyra turned to him, her eyes shining with gratitude. "Thank you, Elliot. You risked everything to protect me and this artifact. I know the Baron was right to trust you." Elliot met her gaze, a warmth blossoming in his chest. "I'd do it again. You're more than just a mission to me, Lyra. I know we've only known each other for a short time, but I feel like we're connected, like this was meant to happen." Lyra's eyes softened, and she reached out, taking his hand. "I feel the same. You've given me a new purpose, Elliot. Together, we can protect these secrets, keep them safe from those who would use them for harm." As they sat together, hand in hand, Elliot felt a deep sense of peace. He had found something he hadn't realized he was searching for, a sense of belonging, a purpose beyond himself. With Lyra by his side, he knew that their journey was far from over. They would continue their mission, facing new dangers, uncovering new mysteries, and safeguarding the galaxy from those who sought to dominate it. Their bond was forged in the crucible of danger, and together, they would face whatever challenges awaited them. The stars stretched endlessly before them, filled with secrets and wonders, and as the eclipse lifted off, Elliot knew that he and Lyra were ready for whatever lay ahead.